Okay, so now that you've had a go at doing these extruded and shelled out vases, we're going to look at doing them in a slightly different way. So you're going to open up Inventor for me and create a new part. So if I show you quickly, I have made a new folder called Rotation Vases. I suggest you do the same and save each one as a different thing as you go. So I'm going to save mine as a vase 1. So we're going to start a 2D sketch, but instead of drawing on the bottom, we're going to draw on the side this time. We're going to start off by creating an outline that we can draw inside of, so we make sure we get it the right size for 3D printing. So the size I want you to do across the top, where you can see it's blue, we're going to put 30 millimeters, and the maximum height is 150 millimeters. Now the reason that this is 30 instead of 60 is because we're going to rotate, and this is basically the width of your radius. So it will double and become 60 once we've rotated it. So first of all, we're going to start drawing a shape inside here. Now, given that it's a vase and we're going to put its bum down on the table down here, we need to leave a little bit of this at the bottom flat. Other than that, it doesn't really matter. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the line tool to just start drawing on top of this shape, leaving a little bit at the bottom flat. So I'm going to go down here and just do a random shape. So right click and OK to finish. And then remember, we need to trim the bits that are too big off first. And then we need to remove the dimensions to be able to get to trim the excess off on the outside. So click and delete on your keyboard, and then trim tool to cut those parts off. Right, so that is a cross section. So this is the radius, and we're going to rotate it round and make it completely solid. We're going to use this thing here called the revolve tool, and it turns things and spins them round. So the profile it's already selected for is the solid shape. That is our cross section. The axis that we're going to select now is what it spins it around, and the axis is this straight line in the middle. If you click it, it will give you a preview of what your shape will look like when it's rotated, and then click OK. So now this wide width here, that is 60. So that is the biggest we can make it. And this is obviously not a vase just yet because it's a solid object. So just like before, we can shell the inside to make it 3 millimeters thick. And you'll see it does that all the way through the whole shape. There we go. So if I spin it round, you can see all the way down inside it, look. So that is our first rotated vase there. Make sure that you're putting screenshots on your OneNote. What I am going to do though is to change the render of it. Now that looks a bit strange because it's quite a complicated shape, but if I go here, you can see it's basically making it look like clear plastic, so you can see all the way through. You don't have to have it clear, you can change it to one of the solid colours. Remember though that it is 3D printed, so it will be made out of PLA, a plastic, so you don't want to render it looking like wood or metal, for example. So make sure that you've saved that. So that one I used straight lines to create. Now what I have done for you is I have given you some inspiration on your OneNote. If I show you here, so these here, I'm suggesting as shapes that you could use to make it. Quite tricky, they could be quite fun to have a go at. So let's have a go at this solid one that's got a circle. Okay, so File, New, remember we need to go to New Part here. And what should we save it as? Vase 2 with a circle, here we go. Okay, so start a sketch on the side. I'll zoom out. Rectangle. So remember 30 millimeters was the radius and 150 millimeters is the maximum height. So let's see that. What I'm going to do first, I think, is draw a circle on here. Now remember it's rotating, so it actually wants to be a semicircle we see, not a whole circle. So I'm going to start by drawing it on this line, and that will mean that the center point starts there, and then you can use all the shape, it can go all the way up to the edge, look. There we go. And that will rotate and turn into this full circle, this big, look. So I'm going to trim off that bit there, we don't need that. And then I want to make a line down here that's a little bit smaller than the outside edge. So here we go. And we will get rid of the measurements and trim it down. So we're going to get rid of those outside bits there. There we go. And this inside bit here we don't want to see. There we go. So it's one solid outline. So finish sketch. And then remember we're using the revolve tool. So the profile is not working. Now that's probably because there is not a join showing up. So if you zoom in to each corner and just make sure that they're actually touching each other, that is usually the problem. These should be joining because we snipped those, but it could be this bottom corner here. There we go. Spotted our problem. So we need to join those two bits together. So to do that, we've got to go back onto this sketch here. You see the lines turn green when I hover over the sketch. It shows you that that is where the lines are drawn. So we double click on it to edit it. And we'll zoom into that part there that we want to fix. Okay. Hopefully that's going to behave. So revolve, there we go. So that's it joined up, it'll behave now. So the axis again is this middle portion here. And then we need to hollow by shelling the inside. And remember it's always 3 millimeters, we don't want it any different than that. And let's have a look at light red. That's quite cool. It looks like a very shiny plastic as well, that one. I like that. Okay, so that's that one. The inspiration picture, let's have a look. There we go. So it's similar to that one. Not exactly the same, but it is similar. So I want you guys to have a go. Use this inspiration or come up with your own ideas. And I want you to fill in 5 different ones that are your own design. And then watch part 2 to look at how to do this assembly at the bottom.